Gatwick Airport. Morning. This is David Kay. Okay, David Kay, would you like to meet the world? Say good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Tired.
Right. So let's announce there's 5, 1, 2, 3. There's 4 pieces of equipment. Which is, well, there's no 5. Yeah,
Twitch box, genuine Twitch box.
He's starting. I'm camera shy. Right.
Only volunteers should start writing. You're writing about. Yeah, I'll do it. This morning to. Yeah. Just write that.
The golf thing. To the Redbridge Inter's Holocaust Seminar. It's now 4:27 AM on Monday the 15th of February. See you in Germany.
Morning, Mo. That's it. All this paper.
I do not. It's
Good morning. Can you please tell me who this is? Morning, man.
Yeah, I've got another space.
Morning, Mo. How are you?
I'm alright, and you?
Just warm me up. Get the legs going.
Talking about the Crest Pro Plus, eh?
The numbers. Where's the labels for those?
Are you in charge?
Yeah,
Are you in charge of numbers?
Get careful.
Are you in charge of numbers?
Smile. Great trip. We're going to shopping on
To fair and down.
To ski. 6, 7, 8.
And it's a superlative.
You've already been allocated a seat. After that, we're going to go to Lloyd's Bank down there, all of us, whether you want to change up money or not. Okay? And once people have changed up, whoever wants to change up money, we'll then go through passport control. We'll then arrange a time to meet back. Okay? Yeah, you last quite a long time. You can put 5 Deutsche Mark coins, £2.
Sorry? Chicken you guy, though. Come on, Doodle.
Is that it?
Oh, for God's sake!
Oh, it's gone through, isn't it? Following the lead.
After an hour's
Mel, just where are you? Where are you, Melanie?
Welcome to Germany.
I'm in Munich airport, Germany at the moment.
Just arrived.
With Harold the Hannah, Simply the Soup. And I just arrived, it was rather shitty flight. I hate planes, my ears hot. And I'm going to try and buy
Excited, interested, fascination starts.
Is that okay for you to go to the screen? Yeah.
How does it feel to be all these Germans around you? I'm not sure, it's weird, it just all seems already very official. I mean, you step on the plane and you're like it's waiting, it's just like,
bit apprehensive.
apprehensive. Okay, and what was it like looking around and seeing those Germans and going through passport control?
You don't know they're German, do you? You don't know they're German, it's just like a normal result, you know.
Any thoughts going through your head?
Not at the moment, it's too early to tell yet, isn't it?
Okay.
What, when I got off the plane? Well, it was different because like the past about 5 times I've been on a plane, I've been getting off at Israel, Ben Gurion Airport, and it was very different to get off and be somewhere different. But also just now I just like heard a couple of people speaking, like German, and I've never really heard it, spoken like that apart from films. It's quite interesting and sudden in the beginning.
How do I feel? Well, it's a very interesting feeling.
Like what?
It's strange to be in Germany. Great to be in Germany. I mean, I fulfilled my ambition now, landing in the German airport. So everything else is a bonus from now on. This is hello, Russell. It seems very odd sort of talking to yourself.
Just look in the lens.
My goal is to learn some German while I'm here. I don't know any German, so I'd like to learn some German. That's all I think. It's funny looking at
Welcome to News at 10:30 Munich. Guy Phillips, how do you feel you're in Munich? And back to the studio. That's humour.
Very, very cold. Wet. I was pretty surprised by those blokes with the guns. It's pretty big.
It's a big one.
It scared me actually. Yeah, imagine, because like in our country we've got no guns, we just stroll about the whole time, and here you come and they've got these massive plonky guns.
Have you been to
Doesn't
America?
it scare you? It scares me.
Have you been to Simon?
I'm sorry.
Have you been to America?
Say something. Speaking to the camera, I thought you used to it after your career on Splash.
And thanks
It's
to
actually a very nice day. It's quite cool. We've just picked up the coach. This is Stephen. This is Mo. Brett Schneider coaches, as predicted. As you can see, a very nice shot here of all the Mercedes taxi cabs, which seems to have caught a lot of people's imagination. And here we are. Welcome to Germany. Let's enjoy it while we can. I'm not your tour guide. It'll take about half an hour, I should imagine, to get to House International. Can I just say, first of all, there's no smoking on the coach. And tell you from experience, they really don't like it here. And let's just spend some time taking in the view, getting a bit orientated to the place, okay? I think you'll find it very interesting. And just think back a little bit about some of the films we've been watching this week. I think could be quite an educational trip. Okay. When we get to House International, I'll sort of tell you what we'll be doing for this morning. Okay.
I gave her a picture of myself actually.
Vincent.
Yeah. It's called on film.
And I hope you have a nice and wonderful time here. The weather is worthy of an emperor, as we say. It couldn't be better. And my name is Renate, and I'm one of the 150 official guides of the Tourist Office of Munich. And I'd like to give you some general views and a first impression of the sights of our city. And our driver, Mr. Besser, will take us everywhere, see parts of the city. And it is called the City of Art, Culture and Joy of Living. And this catchphrase doesn't only include our 53 theaters and our 43 museums and collections and a lot of historical buildings, but this and today and tomorrow and as yesterday, there is a lot of general merrymaking in the center of the city, and tomorrow especially at the Victorian Markt, which is the biggest open market of Europe, and there all the capital of Bavaria. Left you have already the Olympic Park, the Olympic Tower, which is 290 meters high, and at the height of 200 meters there's a platform and a revolving restaurant. And if we have such a wonderful weather like today, it grants you a wonderful panorama of the entire city and of the Alps. If we have a special wind, the föhn, we call it the föhn. This is a southerly wind which brings dry and clear weather to Munich. This one? Because of its shape, and its size is 75,000 square meters, and it is fixed to 58 pylons. 12 of them have a conical form and are hollow and can be walked in, and the other 4 nearly unbreakable and hardly inflammable and even can be walked on. And watertight joints are achieved using preformed elastic neoprene strips sandwiched between. And here we pass the Olympic Stadium for 78,000 spectators. It has fully automatically heating, underground heating in 19. The parking lot, which is named Parking Hub, for 4,500 cars. And the exits of the underground are intentionally laid at the exits, at the borders of the whole area, to prevent spectator overcrowding. And behind you see the Olympic. We go to Nymphenburg Palace. And there, before we come there, I think I have to tell you something about the history of Munich. The name Munich is derived from a settlement of monks. And this settlement of monks was near to St. Peter, a small chapel right in the center of the city. And from this settlement of monks, the name Munich is derived from. In German language, it sounds very similar. Beat in Munich means München. It's very similar. Da vorne. In here, and in summer, you just look or like it, what it looks like in summertime. It's nice to walk along here on those fine avenues. And from 1806 as kings until 1918, when kingdom was overthrown and the king had to go into exile. To his wife as a present, and as she came from Italy and was a very romantic person, she called this palace Borgo delle Nymphe, which of round arched windows, and it is flanked by pilaster strips at both sides. And those pavilions at the left, they house the royal studs and stables here. It houses now a wonderful museum of coaches, and opposite on the right-hand side you have the church. You can hardly recognize that is because at that time the ruler wanted to reign the church as well. They had to obey to the ruler, and also there's the green garden for the very rare plants they had in the garden. Yeah? Do you want to take a photo, of course? Tell me what you want, because I don't know.
Stop tour of Munich. Why? Well, why? Have you seen that? Why? I took a nice picture of you there, Rex.
Don't believe it, Russell. I hate you all.
Here works in the wars of liberation in 1830 between Rome. Because Ludwig I supported this struggle with a lot of money. The inner city were damaged during the last war, and where we've been at the outskirts of Munich 40%. For instance, here to the left you have and in the cellars there were chambers of torture, and many people died there. And to them and to all the other victims of the National Socialists, a monument is set here in front of us, made of granite. You see the small one, and with a prison gate on top and evergreen. You see the monument to the right?
There are small cameras out there.
Depends on people how
How
old
do you
they
feel?
are. How well, for me, it's different and it's difficult because it's difficult for me because I was born just in the year. Well,
Okay. Can I just ask you, please, to be on best behaviour? What they've done for us on this seminar is quite fantastic. They've really done a lot of organising, and I think we should begin to appreciate it. I want you to know that I appreciate that. I love you to appreciate it as well. Okay? So, follow me. Whilst we're sort of going around this come to my attention is, as you can see here and outside, there's posters that have been prepared for our seminar this week. So this centre has done a lot of work for.
Oh, you do. Custard and black don't you get it?
I'm sure.
Resistance during the Holocaust, because I think in some ways that ties us in with the subject more than just studying the Holocaust as plain facts and figures and doom and gloom. In everybody's folder I've given this little leaflet, which is Holocaust and Resistance, which is a publication from England. It details just some of the resistance movements and the resistance actions during the Holocaust. And I think it's something which is worth looking at after the session this afternoon. If you haven't got your copy, if you'd like a copy, then I've got some spare. So that.
I just was walking in the English car and nearly forgot to meet you. But my wife told me it's 3:30, and I said to her, and you have to go. First I have to apologize my very, very bad English. You'll see it. In the beginning it's always a little bit better. And I spoke the last 6-7 years in about 60 places in the United States, East Coast, also in about 10 synagogues, colleges, universities. And I was asked for doing that because some historians, some politicians, and especially Jewish people, discovered, as you do perhaps today, I hope, that there was resistance in Germany, and not only a few women or men, but this is, especially it was, a secret, especially in Germany. The Germans, after the war, and especially during the war, didn't like to hear that there are Germans who resisted. During the war, it's clearly why, because 90% followed the Führer. And after the war, they had the feeling that they never followed the fuel really voluntary, but they had to do so. And so the people of the resistance, the survivors, were sort of...
Each man wants to be exonerated of a guilt of this kind. Each one continues on his way with the most placid, the calmest conscience. But he cannot be exonerated. He is guilty, guilty, guilty. It is not too late, however, to do away with the most reprehensible of all miscarriages of government, so as to avoid being burdened with even greater guilt. Now, when in recent years our eyes have been opened, when we know exactly who our adversary is, it is high time to root out this brown horde. Up until the outbreak of the war, the larger part of the German people was blinded. The Nazis did not show themselves in their true aspect. But now that we have recognized them for what they are, it must be the sole and first duty, the holiest duty of every German, to destroy these beasts.
What are these places flat? Did they take over Masada then for like a week?
Yeah, it's like James Bond's book.
20th Olympic Games from Yud Avelul, it's September. 11 of them were killed brutally by murderers. So God Ze'ev ben Shlomo Friedman, Yosef ben Emil Gottfreund, Eliezer ben Eliyahu Hanfin, Yosef ben Renato Romano, Amitzur ben Yosef Shapira, Kehat ben Michael Shor, Mark ben Yaakov Slavin, Andrei ben Tibor Spitzer, Yaakov ben Asher Shpun.
Not only this spot.
Okay, and how does that make you feel? That Munich is full of blood?
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel very uncomfortable. How does it make you feel?
Angry.
It makes me feel angry too. But it's like, I mean, the way you're saying it, you're kind of just dismissing it. You know, Munich's full of blood, so that's the way it is. Well, so explain.
You misunderstand my tone of voice.
So explain. You know, we're
Just
here.
did.
Okay,
Makes
so
me angry.
I'll make you angry.
You know who they are?
Thank you for sharing that.
No.
They are a group who came to Munich to discuss
about the Holocaust and about...
Is this your first time in Germany?
Yeah, for some of us, and for some of us not.
Is this your first time? Is this your first time in?
Yeah, it's my first time in Germany.
Why did you go to Dachau? Yeah.
Not yet.
but they came for that.
Not just for that. It's completely crazy. So it's what makes me feel is a little crazy because it's when you walk around here, it's pretty Western. Home turf, really Western. And has a nice little town and a nice little subway map with a little concentration camp.
Right.
I think we probably feel the same.
I thought you had a discussion tonight.
We had, and then we came here.
Ah, we finished already.
It's tomorrow night discussion.
The panel with the open
The
discussion
panel
tomorrow
discussion
night.
is tomorrow night. Not this Tuesday.
How long do you plan to visit?
Till Friday.
So what do you think exactly is that?
I work in Tel Aviv actually, and I come here frequently, periodically, work at the same institute, physics institute, out in Karch, which is a suburb of Munich. It's about as far from Marienplatz as Dachau is. Actually, it's exactly the same distance. Yeah. Except that Dachau's on the train route. It is today and it was then as well.
It was then?
Sure.
We were discussing that last night.
Oh, of course.
So what we're saying is, if you can imagine that Dachau is the same distance from the centre of Munich, for example, as Gants Hill is from the centre of London, and was then.
It's about 8 miles, yeah?
No, it's a little more than that, but it's not. Today it's less, it's psychologically less distant. I mean, apparently I talked to a few people, Germans, about this, and they were claiming that during the war it was more distant, quote unquote. But that doesn't mean that people knew what was going on. You know, they were putting communists and Jews in there, Bolsheviks and Jews. But,
started long before the war, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, in the 30s. I mean, during the Nazis.
I'm going to put my thing outside.
I'll wait for you here outside.
Anyway, I have a mezuzah on the door, and it's exactly where I think the first athlete was killed.
What?
I think I have a mezuzah on my step. Yeah. And I think it's exactly where the first one of them was killed. Joseph Romano. So I'll do it in mezuzah.
Creepy, yeah.
I just think we need to
finish off.
Yeah. Okay. I think everybody said something. Mark, do you want to finish up what you were saying?
Yeah. So that's what's
Psychosomatic.
No, it's not.
It has been
You're
shown
recording,
to
aren't
be
you?
one that doesn't mean that you're a nutcase.
Yeah, I know.
Good morning and welcome to Munich. We're standing here in the Weinstrasse in the centre of Munich, near the Marienplatz, ready to conduct our interviews with the local Germans. Our team consists of myself, which is Elliot, Simon, who is holding the case beautifully, Avi, who is our wonderful cameraman, and Colin, who is taking notes. So how do we feel about being in Munich, interviewing Germans about a subject which is close to all of our hearts? Perhaps there's a little apprehension, not knowing exactly what they're going to say, and perhaps a bit of hope, hoping that we won't get a bad reaction from people, and we don't really want to see anti-Semitism. So, what are your feelings, Simon?
Where's the nearest toilet? No, I'm actually excited about this, and it should prove very interesting and fascinating.
Colin?
Very apprehensive, because I think it's a very delicate subject, the Holocaust, and by asking them these questions, it's almost as though we're sort of accusing them. So I think, of all the street interviews I've done, which is zero, no, all the street interviews I've done, I think this is probably the most difficult. So it should be a very interesting experience, John.
Thank you, dear. Anyway, I think we better start nailing our first interviewee, okay? Probably not to a cross. Okay. You speak English?
Yes.
We are British students here in Germany, studying German history. Would you mind answering a few questions for us?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Nothing about Germans. Oh, you're American. Never mind. Okay, thank you. Excuse me, do you speak English?
No.
You don't?
I'm Deutsche.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me, do you speak English? No. You don't? Okay, do you speak English? No English, fine. What an uncultured race the Germans are. Would you mind answering a few questions for us, please? Yes. We're British students studying Germany at the moment. We're trying to collect some data. So, we're trying to collect answers to a few simple questions on Germany. Yeah?
Yes, but I just arrived this morning, and for the first time, so
You're
I
French?
don't know. Yeah.
Ah, oui. Merci. Are you German?
Yeah,
you speak English?
No,
speak English? Thank you, never mind. Yeah. This is fantastic. The response has been overwhelming. How about this fellow over here? This fellow over here, yeah? Should we try walking away? Excuse me. Excuse me. Do you speak English? Thank you so much. You're German, yeah? We're British students studying Germany at the moment. Would you mind answering a few questions for us?
If I understand you, I don't know exactly.
Okay. Fine. Well, do you actually live in Munich?
No.
You don't.
No.
Whereabouts do you live?
In the south of Munich.
The south of Munich.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of Munich as a place? Do you enjoy?
Well, I wouldn't like to live here, but I like coming here.
Yeah.
Well, I come here once a week.
Yeah. What do you know of the history of the area? Earlier this century, maybe the 40s, the war.
About the 40s, this century, or you mean history in a larger scale? I know that Munich is a place which is very old already. Yeah. But you are interested in the new history, in what happened in this century.
Probably the war, the wartime.
The war. Well, let me think a little about it. Well, it you know, in the it had a remarkable place in the last 40 years and 50 years ago. You know that Hitler, it was a place where Hitler always had things to say. Yeah. you know, my English not so very good.
Don't worry.
Perhaps you could precise your questions a little bit more.
Okay. Perhaps. In Germany, such as Turks, Jews.
I think they should have a right to live here. That's my opinion. Yeah. Just as if I would like to stay in another country as a German, I would like that the other countries would accept me too. So that's my opinion. They should have the right to live here.
So, do you know much about the Jewish community in Germany?
In Germany, I wouldn't say much. I know a little. From time to time they have difficulties here, you know. But I think on a larger scale, people in Germany, Germans accept them. I would say though. Yeah. So, perhaps not. Well, the very old ones.
So what do you think about the Nazis then, and the Nazism in the 40s and the 30s?
Well, that's a difficult question. Yeah. I would say when the Second World War started, I was a child. I was really very young, but people at that time, they have really committed. They have committed things which were not right, and I do not accept them. And I think it's very important that we have to unsere Geschichte aufarbeiten. That means to not to forget what happened, but to work it through. Yeah. And so,
make up for what
that's it. That's my opinion.
So, as a German, you slightly resent what happened in the war here.
I resent. That means I do not agree with it.
Yeah, do not.
Yes, I do not agree.
So, what's your attitude towards Jews today?
To Jews today?
Yeah.
In Germany or?
In Germany.
Well, they should have a right to live here, and just as we have.
Yeah.
I'm not against them, but perhaps as if I look at Israel now, I think they are perhaps a little bit too.
Yeah. Too pushy.
Yeah. They are not free from committing faults or things themselves, which they shouldn't do. Fine. But this is human, you know.
Yeah. So, what do you think of Kurt Waldheim and what's been happening in Austria at the moment?
I think he should. Well, I'm very open. He should resign.
He should resign.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. What do you think that Germans should perhaps be doing to make sure that the Holocaust doesn't happen again?
That's what I said already. I think we shouldn't forget what has happened. We should work it through. We should stand to it, saying we have done this, but this is the only way to forgive. I think that's my opinion. You see, I think faith and Christianity could help there. That's my opinion. You will.
So, how do you feel about being interviewed like this? You know, does it worry you at all?
Well, a little bit, because my English is not so very good.
Not at all.
and it's very new for me, but I don't mind.
Yeah. So, is there anything you'd like to add at all? Would you like to say anything else at all?
Well, no, I think that's all right.
Yeah.
Only a question. You're Americans? Where do you
No,
from?
we're English. We're from London,
English.
just from outside London. Yeah.
I see.
Okay. Well, thanks very much indeed. Thank you for
That's
your
all
time.
right.
Thank you. Bye. Success at last. Thank you. Okay. How old are you, please?
I'm 19.
You're 19. Do you live in Munich?
Yes, I live in Munich.
How have you lived here all your life?
Yes.
Always. Yeah. Do you like the area?
Oh yes, very much. That's nice.
Could you describe your feelings about the area of Munich?
Oh, it's a really pretty city. It's much green areas and so it's very good.
Sorry. Do you know much about the war here, the Second World War?
Oh no, not much. No.
Do you not learn about it in school or?
Oh yes, some things, but not directly about Munich. About Bavaria and Germany.
What's your attitude towards the minorities in Germany? The Jews, the Turks, the Asians.
Oh, I have nothing against minorities. It's I'm no racist.
Particularly the Jews at all?
No, nothing.
How do you feel about the Nazis and what happened in Germany?
Oh, it was a very bad time, and I hope it will never happen again. So I'm absolutely no Nazi, and I'm more left-wing than right.
So, as a German, do you actually resent what happened 40 years ago? You know, do you not feel good? Does it shame you?
Yes, it is really shame because it was cruel what happened. Absolutely bad.
How do you see the future of minorities in Germany? What do you think is going to happen in the future?
I hope that minorities will be accepted as they are, and we will see what can happen.
Okay. What do you think of Kurt Waldheim and the situation in Austria at the moment?
Oh, it's hard to say. I don't know exactly.
Do you think he should resign?
Oh no, I don't think he was only 20 at the time these things happened, and I don't think a young man can truly see what's going on.
So what do you think that Germans should be doing to make sure that something like the Holocaust doesn't happen again? Do you think there's anything they can do?
Oh yes, surely they have to help minorities to live their own identity, and if they do this will be a better life for minorities, better than now with the Turks and so on. There's some racism in Germany, and we can. So I hope that there won't be any more racism.
How do you feel about us interviewing you? Does it worry you at all on this subject?
Oh no, it's a little bit hard with the language, but I think it's right.
Good. So have you got anything to add, perhaps? Anything else to say on the subject?
Oh, I don't think so.
Thanks very much indeed. Thank you for your time. Another success. Well. Okie dokie.
For you?
We're British students and we're studying the Holocaust in Germany. I wonder if you'd answer a few questions for us. Yeah?
What kind of questions?
Very basic, simple questions. Firstly, do you live here in Munich?
Yeah.
You do. Do you work here? What do you do exactly?
What did you say?
What exactly do you do?
What do we do here? He's managing director.
Visit them and
You're German?
Yeah.
We're a group of Jewish students. Would you mind perhaps answering some questions for us?
Yes.
Okay. how long have you lived in Munich in your life?
I was born in Munich, and I went away with my parents, and now I'm here since a year.
How old are you?
21. 23.
When you were at school, did you learn much about the Holocaust and the Second World War?
Natürlich, eine ganze Menge. Freilich. Zweiter Weltkrieg, jetzt hör aber auf.
Really, that's interesting.
Aber nicht über Holocaust oder so. Ja. Also, ja, okay. Ja, okay. Ja.
Describe what your feelings are about World War II.
Oh. Sag du mal was. Ja, was soll ich da sagen? Keine Ahnung.
What do you know about what actually happened, what the Nazis did? Adolf.
Yeah, I think we know a lot of the things which happened, but we had to learn it. We must learn it.
Do you think it's important for you to learn?
Yes.
What's your attitude towards minorities in Germany, like Jews, Turks, Asians?
We are not against it.
What do you know about the Jewish community in Germany?
About what?
About the Jews, Juden.
Not very many.
How do you feel about Nazism? What do you really think about Nazism?
We are really against it.
What's your feeling as a German? Do you resent what happened in the past? You know, how does it affect you as a German? Yeah. What do you actually feel about it?
I think a little bit ashamed, but our generation hadn't done this, and so we have. It's now our. Soll ich sagen? Ja, genau.
Do you think it's important though for you as the new generation to make sure that it doesn't happen again? Do you think there's anything you can do?
If you take the French people, they always think we are accused. We accused these things, and also the young French people, and we can't really do anything against it.
What do you think about Jewish people? Do you know many Jewish people here?
No.
So you couldn't say what you think about Jews now?
No.
Okay. How do you see the future of minorities in Germany? Do you think it could ever happen again? What happened in the Second World War?
It can happen everywhere.
Yeah.
Not exactly in German.
What do you think of Waldheim, Kurt Waldheim?
I think he had done some faults, but his Verhalten,
yeah, his behavior is ridiculous.
Right.
Okay. How do you feel about Jewish people interviewing you in the street?
There's no difference between Jewish people and other people.
What do you feel about people interviewing you then, just in general? Do you think it's a good thing?
Yeah, warum nicht? Yeah. Why not?
Is there anything else you might like to say about the subject? Any messages to England? Yeah. Like a Nazi to me. Excuse me, do you speak English? You don't speak English? You speak? Okay, don't worry, thank you. You speak English?
Yeah.
Yeah? We're British students studying Germany at the moment. I wonder if you wouldn't mind answering a few questions for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you live in Munich?
No, I'm visiting Munich. He lives in Munich.
Yeah.
Munich.
Do you study? Have you studied at school about the Holocaust and the Second World War?
Yeah, of course we did. Yeah, we're doing it. The
2 years more till the Abitur.
Do you know much about it, do you think?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm interested in it personally too. I read some books about it.
What do you think about what the Nazis did in this country?
Well, I don't know if this question makes much sense. You know, almost every German thinks that it is something which may not happen again, and that it's really, yeah, let's say, yeah, bad or something. No, not bad. You know what I mean? It happened. They're terrible. Yeah.
So, what's your attitude towards minorities in Germany now? What? Towards minorities like Jews, Turks, Asians? Yeah.
Yeah. The racism is growing bigger in Germany as well as in any other country in the world, and I think it's a big problem. Yeah. And I don't know what you can do about this.
Right, you personally?
Oh, personally, yeah, I try to be open for these people, you know, talk to them and try to understand them.
So, what do you think that Germans can do to stop the Holocaust happening again?
Yeah, Germans, what they can do is try not to forget their history. You know, some people say let's forget what happened and let's look in the future. I think that's wrong. And what we can do as well is to show other people, other countries what happened and to explain them how that happened and make clear what you can do to avoid it.
What do you think of Kurt Waldheim?
Who?
Kurt Waldheim, the Austrian premier.
Yeah, I don't think that I can judge about this because it's an Austrian politician. You should go to Austria and ask them. You know, I think it's always a problem if a politician gets such a reputation, even if it is wrong, but it's not wrong in this case, that he's not able any longer to make any politics.
So what do you think the future is then for maybe Jews living in Germany today?
Well, I think it's the same future than any other country in Germany, and maybe even a bit better, because Germans try to do something good for the Jews. You know, they think they should yeah, to apologize, they should do something good to Jews. Yeah.
So what do you think of being interviewed in the street like this? Sort of thing?
What do I think about it?
Do you think it does something good for the relations between?
I don't know who you are and what you're doing with this.
Well, I'm a Jew. I'm a British Jew.
Oh, you're a British Jew. Yeah, I think it's good if you try to find out something about your reputation in Germany, and yeah, it's probably the best way to find out what people think, to ask them on the street, because I didn't know this before, so I couldn't make any yeah, so I couldn't think about this before, so I just say what I really mean. You know, so.
You're basically anti-Nazism. You're really sort of anti-Nazism and fascism.
Yeah, simply said, yeah. But it's, you know, it's such a big problem. You can't say simply, this is bad, this is good, and I don't like Nazism, of course, but you also have to try to understand the people, because if you don't understand how they felt in this time, you're not able to avoid it again, because you can see in this time you have a lot of people who have no work, you know, and there's one thing which was the cause for the growing of the Nazism back in the 30s.
Okay. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
It's going to be sent on TV or something?
No, we do this for our own personal use. It's,
on the 24th of October 1938, the Germans decided to round up 50,000 Polish people who were living in Germany and deport them to the concentration camp, Dachau. One of these men was called Enzel Greenspan. A few weeks before this happened, his son, Herschel Greenspan, knowing what was coming up, fled to Paris. When Enzel wrote to Herschel in Paris about what was going on here, Herschel was so incensed, he took a gun, he marched into the German embassy in Paris, and shot dead the third secretary of the German embassy. Now, up to that time, Jews in this country had all the laws passed against them, laws that we know about not being able to practice if they were doctors or lawyers, about having J stamped on their passport, about real civil rights had been taken away from them. This incident in Paris was an excuse for the Nazis to perpetrate the first large-scale physical action on the 9th and 10th of November. Slogans were painted, people were killed, 20,000 Jews were rounded up and deported to Dachau. Synagogues, 200 synagogues in Germany were burnt down. And on this site, right now, is the site of the synagogue here in Munich, a great synagogue in Munich, built in 1833, which was burnt to the ground on that night in 1938. This memorial plaque here only memorial in this city. The other side is meant to read the explanation. The Holocaust happened in the whole city. The only recognition at all.
What? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
In a minute, when you go to retake
Können wir anfangen? Ich glaube, jede Minute, die wir hier jetzt noch im Saal zerreden wir regelrecht. Die Zeit läuft uns davon. Ich möchte nur etwas ganz kurz sagen, bevor ich Sie begrüße in den Präliminarien. Wir haben hier englische Gäste, die wahrscheinlich im Deutschen wesentlich schlechter sind als Sie im Englischen. Ich werde deshalb die englischen Gäste begrüßen und versuchen langsam zu sprechen. Ich möchte von vornherein sagen, sollte irgendwann etwas unklar sein, bitte melden Sie sich. Ich übersetze gerne auch ins Deutsche. Das soll kein Problem sein. Und vor allem ist eines wichtig, wenn Sie irgendeine Frage haben im Verlauf Verlauf des Abends. Lassen Sie es nicht daran scheitern, dass Sie vielleicht sich nicht so gut ausdrücken können in Englisch. Stellen Sie sich ganz einfach in Deutsch. Eine Antwort werden wir bald schon finden. Ich hoffe, ich habe mich klar gemacht. Bitte zögern Sie nicht aufzustehen, Ihre Frage klar und deutlich zu formulieren, dann werden wir auch in die Diskussion eintreten können. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I may welcome you on behalf of the Israeli community of Munich here in the Youth Center of the Jewish community of Munich. We have here about 20 or 30 English guests, which originates from the suburb of London, Redbridge. Before I get into this evening, may I thank very cordially the community of Munich, President of the community of Munich, Mrs. Charlotte Nobler, and the manageress of the Youth Center, which were here for the important help, for the co-sponsorship, to make this event coming true, to make this event really to happen. Thank you very much. We met here in order to discuss the fact Jews in Germany today. And I want to point out that the title of this evening is already a subject on itself, because we don't talk about German Jews. We talk about Jews in Germany today. I point that out because we have here, as I mentioned before, about 30 English guests in an age group 50% below about 20 years and 50% above 20 years. They all stem from the suburb of Redbridge, as I mentioned before, which is a suburb of London. And to give you an impression what the difference it is, or might be, for a Jew in England to live, and the contrast for a Jew in Germany, let the numbers speak for itself. Redcliffe consists of about 30,000 Jews, a suburb of London. In Germany, there live 30,000 Jews altogether. Redbridge has about 8 rabbis, and what's even more important, they cover the whole range of Jewish attitudes and Jewish perspectives today. And they told me they have Lubavitcher, they have Orthodox ones, they have Reformed ones. I think that's a very important attitude and a very important source of material, so to say, because it offers for any kind of Jew who feels himself helpless in Judaism, on reason whatsoever, to find a way to Judaism. I think this is one of the main reasons why Jews don't have to drop out. Judaism is offering in this way itself to people in a pluralistic way, and by that reflecting pluralistic modern society. I think we have still to learn in Germany. Well, to get down into the subject, these English guests differentiate in a very important way to us. I'm absolutely sure if you ask these English Jews, so to say, what they are,
den Holocaust überlebt haben und keine Angehörigen mehr haben und die sich in unsere Obhut begeben, für den es die größte Möglichkeit geben, den Lebensabend anderen in jüdischer Atmosphäre zu haben.
The community runs as well an old people home, which are mostly survivors of the Holocaust, and by that the community wants to provide the facilities that these people can enter life in a way which is full of dignity.
Alle diese Einrichtungen zu unterhalten, haben wir natürlich große finanzielle Probleme, die wir versuchen am laufenden Band zu beheben. Aber es ist natürlich sehr schwierig, weil wir eine relativ kleine Gemeinde sind und trotzdem diese Einrichtungen haben, die sonst eine große Gemeinde mit vielen Mitgliedern hat.
As well, this home is of course a source for enormous financial expenses, because this is a small community with 4,000 members that was mentioned before, and there are a lot of other things to be financed.
Also ich glaube, ich habe mir jetzt über meinen Lebenslauf und über die jüdische Gemeinde einiges erzählt und bin gerne bereit, später noch Fragen von Ihnen zu beantworten.
She hoped that she informed you a little bit about this community. She's ready to answer any further questions.
Wenn Sie mich noch fragen, wie ich mich fühle hier in Deutschland als Jüdin, dann kann ich Ihnen ganz kurz darauf antworten. Für mich sind die Juden in Deutschland nur Gäste.
If you ask her what she thinks about the situation of Jews in Germany, she gives you a clear answer. For her, Jews in Germany are nothing else but guests. Mr. Rosenberg, please.
My name is Gordon Rosenberg. I am born in '46 in Lodz in Poland, and I grew up in Munich, and I work since 10 years for a political party in Munich, for the political party in Bavaria. And my friends, I work with him, they will ask me today, why are you discussing this thing, Jews in Germany today? They would say, why not? We are a free country, and there live German, Turkish people, Yugoslavians, Americans, English people, why not Jews? They wouldn't understand why we are discussing a whole evening about the question of Jews in Germany today. I have to explain him why it is a problem. I talk about a generation of German born after the Second World War. They have not the feeling for this problem, that there is a problem at all to live as a German, as a Jew in Germany. We have 30,000 Jews in Germany. We have 3 big communities in Berlin, in Frankfurt, in Munich. We have in the city of Munich a Jewish kindergarten, a Jewish school, a Jewish youth center like this, a Jewish sports movement, Maccabi. And I grew up in Munich, and I know it grew in the last 20 years to a Jewish community with a basis. We have families with children, like in every other big city in the world, where Jews are living today. And I think we have to discuss this evening not only about our past, about that what happened. We know it everything. I know it every day when I talk to my mother. I know it every day. This is not the problem. The problem is the future. Which answer a Jewish family, a Jewish father in my age, or a mother gives to his sister, to his child, to his children, to her child, while we are living in Germany. This is the main problem, not the view back to our history. I don't mean to forget. It's not possible to forget for us what happened. This is a, how do you say, rucksack? A rucksack. A rucksack. We live the whole day, our whole life. The main problem, I think, is to find a basis in the community where you live.
My name is Elliot Rubin. I am 16 years old. I'm actually more of a guest of the Redbridge Centre on this seminar because I don't actually belong to the centre. I am a madrachim, or leader, from Habon in Dror. And people are sort of shoving me up here, pushing me up to answer your question. I think, in general, our attitude towards Germany has been one of apprehension and not knowing exactly what we were going to find here. Our attitude towards German Jews, perhaps something more of not being able to understand how Jewish people can live so close to what happened 40 years ago. not, especially not far from here as well. And this is something which we hope to find out. I think as far as attitude towards German people has changed since we got here, today we were out in the street interviewing people, and I think perhaps we're beginning to see that Germans, whereas maybe before we've seen them as being unforgivable, we're beginning to see a better side of them now, I think. As for the side of German Jews, I think we're hoping to find that out tonight. And that's what we're waiting for an answer for now. Thank you.
I want to just clarify something. My name is David Goldberg. I'm one of the over-20s in the group. And I'm the leader of this group here this evening. I just wanted to clarify that the main criteria why we're here is to study the Holocaust, to study the Shoah. And that has not been mentioned by you. And I wanted that to be clear, and also in context with what Elliot said. And this evening is part of that programme. Our main focus has been, and is the Shoah, is the Holocaust. And I just wanted to make that as a point of clarification. I didn't want to answer your question, but I think it needed to be said now.
Thank you. Please. My name is Mo Cohen. I'm the youngest member of the group. And I'm going to answer your question, but I'd like to take the opportunity also to ask two questions of my own. I have a kind of a feeling that there's almost a confrontation going on between, Jews from England and Jews from Germany, and I don't really want it to be like that. You asked the question, what was my opinion of Jews in Germany before I came? I had no opinion. I had never met Jews from Germany before I came, and this is a discovery for me. It's like an exploration and a discovery. But one thing I know that I'm very active in my Reform synagogue in London, and I remember the rabbi saying that the meeting between Europe and England is very important, very important. And I want to recommend to you that you use us. If you are determined to rebuild Jewish life in Germany, and I'm not saying if I agree with it or disagree with it, it's really not my place to judge. But if that's your determination, use us. I invite you to use the Jews of England. They're willing, they're ready.
Here, that first of all, our English guests, at least the majority, doubt that the phenomenon which caused the Holocaust of the German people has not died. The phenomenon lives on. Something we Jews who live here could think about, but of course the Germans should think about. The second fact is that I want to point out one important thing. I reject it flatly. If the Jewish minority is mixed and compared with other minorities. I mean, there is the word in Berlin created which says, well, the Jews had already been done to, that they were expecting by the Germans. I want to say the Jewish minority in all countries has always been different because of simple reason. They took very quickly responsibility in the community, but then exposed themselves. This makes a completely different point. You know, in England, you have a lot of English House of Commons members and so on, something which is quite different. I don't know which Turkish member is living in England or in Germany sitting in the House of Commons. Quite sorry. But the most important thing is, my opinion, and then I'm finished already, Mr. Rosenberg said a very important sentence before, and that's, I think, should be the motto for the whole evening, maybe further occasions like that. You heard it for the first time that Jews from abroad offered their hand for help to Jews living here. I think this should be the motto for any further meetings, for any further congregations. It's quite obvious that we Jews, more than other Jews in the world, need the help from other Jews in our fight to exist here and find our identity and find our identity in Judaism. I want to thank the English guests for their standing up tonight and give us an idea what it means to stand up proudly and to say its point, to stand up to point, to say proudly against Mr. Rosenberg, to know his political position. I want to say thank you very much for giving an example of what a citizen should think about. We can learn from them, and I'm looking forward to meet other Jews from other countries to teach us, maybe if we need it, how a citizen should behave. We do need it. We do need it more than anything else. I want to thank you very much for this evening tonight. English guest wants to organize?
Well, I'd like to first of all thank the panel this evening, all 6 of you, and especially Wolf for providing what has been an exciting, I think is a good word to describe it, and challenging and thought-provoking evening, which I think threw up many, many more questions than answers, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. In the context of our seminar, Studying the Shah, I think this has been as best as it possibly could be, and we thank everybody here tonight for providing that for us. I would like to make just a couple of presentations, if I may, because this whole seminar, which we have done, started the early hours on Monday morning and is going on till Friday morning, we still have another full day here, has been organised with this community, but especially with this youth centre. I'd like to make a couple of presentations on behalf of our group. First of all, we have a little picture of
Old London.
a cheesy picture of London, which, as you can read, it says to the Jewish youth. It says, for making this a most memorable experience, the Holocaust Seminar, February 1988, from the Redbridge Jewish Youth Centre. I'd like to present this to Ellen to paint it. We are, as has been said, quite a large Jewish community on the northeast part of London. We're very proud of our community. We have quite a large community centre. We invite people to come and visit our community centre. Please do. We'd like to start some dialogue and get this through. This is our panel, which I also had to present. I don't know this is going to which has been described by all the members of our group, who, I can honestly say, have been overwhelmed with the hospitality of this centre and the work that Ellen has put into making this the most fantastic centre. Very interesting. I don't think we've seen this book before. A book called Korban by a reformed rabbi, Rabbi Tony Bayfield. He in fact addressed our seminar last week when we were back in London. To me, this book is one of the easiest and simplest introductions to the Holocaust, and I'd like to personally present it to them for, once again, for our help for this seminar. That my first phone call to this community was to Lion Rosenthal, who put me in touch with Ellen, and indeed himself has also helped towards our seminar. I'm afraid I haven't got a gift for you here, but
I'll take it when I come to your house.
I'd like to thank Libel as well for making this whole seminar great. Thank you.
Sure. I can try to speak English. English knowledges. It's wonderful to receive this present and to stay this evening together with our English friends. I hope that it's okay that I use this word. And also with many members of the Jewish community here. Perhaps you don't know that in these days we have the 5th anniversary of this house. And I'm very happy that in these days we have the possibility to organize a meeting between English and in Germany living Jews. And I thank you very much for the present, especially because you don't know that I'm really crazy for cartoons. And to receive a cartoon for this house is a special pleasure for me.
On our way to Dachau.
This is much worse after sneeze.
We're now going to Dachau, to what was a concentration camp, the first camp set up in 1933 for political prisoners. It's now been turned into a kind of tourist resort, a tourist attraction, where people can go and see for themselves what a concentration camp looks like. There's also a museum which has some quite horrific things attached to it, which we will be going to see first. The weather outside is very cold. It's snowing at the moment, and that gives us some indication of what the situation that the people who were in the concentration camps felt as particularly tired only 42 years
These train tracks went. Why did these places have names in them? Alan, Carlsfield, these aren't new names. But I have never seen 140 people stuck into a carriage like this. I've never seen anybody doing that. And I know that there's a way to treat criminals. There's something about the dignity of human beings. This is a war. That was the truth. That was the truth. And it was people like Franz Miller who saw through the truth. That was very well said.
Would you mind answering some questions for us, please? Would you mind answering a few questions for us? You don't understand? No. Okay. We're now at Dachau anyway, so let's try and find out what people here think. Excuse me, do you speak English? For someone who doesn't speak English, has got a very good English accent. We're British students studying the Holocaust. Would you like to answer a few questions for us?
I don't know the question.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Do you speak French? No. Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry. Never mind. Never mind. Excuse me. Do you speak English? We're actually trying to get some interviews here, trying to find out what the actual residents of Dachau can actually say about living here, living so close to all the destruction that happened 40 years ago. And I'm going to try this plug here. Excuse me, do you speak English? Okay. Do you speak English?
No.
Oh. Excuse me, do you speak English? You speak English? Sprechen Sie English? Okay, don't worry, it's okay, thank you. Excuse me, do you speak English? Excuse me, do you speak English? No. Excuse me, do you speak English? Do you speak English? No. Excuse me, do you speak English? Excuse me, do you speak English? No. Success. Excuse me, do you speak English?
Bitte?
Do you speak English?
No.
Excuse me, sprechen Sie English? Excuse me, do you speak English? Excuse me, do you speak English? No. No? Excuse me, do you speak English? You speak English? We're a group of British students studying the Holocaust. I wonder if you'd mind answering a few...
Holocaust.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not from here.
No. Do you work in Munich? Do you live in Munich, rather?
No, I'm outside Petershausen.
So you work here, yeah?
I work, no. I'm in rent.
Oh, I see. Would you mind answering a few very quick questions for us, please?
Oh, sorry, I have no time. I'm hurry.
Very quickly, you're the first person we found.
What do you want?
I'd like to know, please, how you actually feel about working here so close to what happened 40 years ago.
You want 40 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't know. 40 years ago. You mean the camp?
Yeah.
The way to the camp?
No. What I want to know is how you feel about what happened here.
I don't know the town.
Yeah. But you know what happened at Dachau?
Yes.
So what do you think of that?
Dachau, I think that's a town like another one too.
What would you...
And what was 40 years gone with the camp? No, I wasn't here.
What were you actually doing during the war?
I beg your pardon?
Sorry, what was your occupation during the war?
My occupation was in the station, the railway station, in Munich.
In Munich?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you speak English? Sprechen Sie English?
No.
Sorry. Danke. We don't speak German.
English.
Nie sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Keine Deutsch, du auch nicht?
No.
Nichts?
No. English.
English?
From England.
England?
Yes.
You don't live here. Where do you live?
Petershausen. Petershausen.
Yeah, it's a town. This town.
Were you
Doktor? Verstehen? Doktor mit Spritzen, weil Operation.
Surgeon.
Herz. Haupt, yeah.
What? We want to know about the Holocaust. The camp. Dachau.
So, yeah.
What do you know?
Ja. Das ist von Hitler. Hitler, verstehen Hitler? Ja. Das ist nichts gut, ne?
He says it's from Hitler and it's no good. So where were you during the war?
Yeah.
Where were you? In the war, yeah? Where were you?
Ich verstehe. Also ist Dachau mit die Jude, ne?
Yeah, with the Jews.
Mit Jude? Ja. Aber schon 40 Jahre fertig, ne?
What did you do during the war?
Gut.
What? Can you ask him what he did in the war?
Was machen Sie in der Krieg?
Ja, heute ist ja so, heute gibt ja nur Krieg in Vietnam oder Iran. Bei uns ist ja jetzt kein Krieg. Ja, ich meine, ich bin Zeuge Jehova, Religion, Jehova.
Ja.
Ich mache keinen Krieg, weil dieses Buch, die Bibel, hat verboten, Krieg machen.
He wasn't in the war because the Bible forbids it. The Bible forbids it.
You are religious?
I want people in it.
Huh?
Let's stay for lunch.
What have we got here?
We walk and I will talk loudly so everybody will hear. Mr. Musil, the teacher, told you about some dates already. 30th of January 1933, Hitler came to power. On the 21st of March 1933, Heinrich Himmler, at that time police commissioner in Munich, announced in all German papers that in Dachau will be opened a concentration camp. It was here in an ammunition factory from the First World War. So if somebody says that he had no idea about the existence of concentration camps in Germany, that is obvious not true, because it was to everybody clear that that this exists. And on the very first day, the first prisoners, mainly communists, social democrats, some clergymen, and men from the unions, from the what is it?
Trade
labor unions. Yeah, trade unions. No,
yeah.
Were imprisoned here. Reported this to this SS. He said this and he said. So it was very dangerous to talk about only the closest friends. You could rely on them. That here is. Remember that we died here. Honor the dead to the living people, to remind them allowed to talk about things, about the numbers of the deaths, although everybody noticed when his neighbor is not longer in the bed, on these plank beds, that something happened to him. He didn't went to a tour, to an excursion. He just was not here. Then we were driven into the room, which it came together with the oxygen, immediately started with this gassing. So now you have an idea in miniature what happened. In Yad Vashem now is working on this project at the university in Jerusalem. Erich Kulka, he's a good friend of mine and historian because of his experience. He's trying to find other witnesses to have more opinions about the experience that people rely on parcels like the non-Jewish prisoners, except the Russians. The Russians were treated in a special way. Russian prisoners were killed outside, it's called 1,000 few miles from here, without being registered in the camp. So it's uncertain how many Russians were soldiers and officers, and they called them all that they are political commissioners, yeah, and many of them that they are Jews.
Guardian of the people of Israel, guard the remnant of Israel, and let not Israel perish, those who say, Shema Israel. Guardian of the unique people, guard the remnant of that people, and let not that people perish who proclaim, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Guardian of the holy people, guard the remnant of the holy people, and let not the holy people perish who repeat, Holy, holy is the Lord.
Alongside the armed struggle went the struggle to live through the horror, to bear witness, to tell the story, to survive. Samuel Pizarre, a young boy at Auschwitz, describes in his book how he achieved this. One day I found myself among the condemned. We stood in dread silence, in some crazed hope of last-minute deliverance. At the back of the room I saw a pail of water and a brush. I crept forward on the floor among the crowd, reaching the pail. I wet the brush and began scrubbing the floor. I scrubbed one section, then another, inching my way towards the exit, away from the death chamber. Now a guard catches sight of me and shouts, "Bastard, that light's still dirty." I cling when he says, working my way, heart thumping toward the door. Half the other group was about to die. "Clean that corner." "Yes, sir," I say and do it. I resume my progress toward the daylight. It seems to take forever. I scrub and then, and only then, I slowly stand, and with brush and pail walk out into the open. I expect to be stopped, cry or blow, but nothing. Slowly I walk toward the barracks and lose myself in the camp.
This is from Ravan. What I'm going to read now is from a book by a man called Elie Wiesel. He's written a number of books about the Holocaust. This is from his book called Night, which I do recommend that people try and read. This part is when him and his father are in Auschwitz and are walking towards what they consider their death. Father, I said, if that is so, I don't want to wait here. I'm going to run to the electric wire. That would be better than slow agony in the flames. He did not answer. He was weeping. His body was shaking convulsively. Around us, everyone was weeping. Someone began to recite Kaddish, a prayer for the dead. I don't know if that's ever happened before in the long history of the Jews, that people have ever recited Kaddish, the prayer for the dead, for themselves. May his name be blessed and magnified, was my father. For the first time, I felt revolt rise up in me. Why should I bless his name? The eternal Lord of the universe, the all-powerful and terrible, was silent. What had I to thank him for? We continued our march. We were gradually drawing closer to the ditch, from which an infernal heat was rising. Still, 20 steps to go. If I wanted to bring about my own death, this was the moment. Our line had now 15 paces to cover. I bit my lips so that my father would not hear my teeth chattering. 10 steps still. 8. 7. We marched slowly on, as though following a hearse at our own funeral. 4 steps more. 3 steps. There it was now, right in front of us, the pit and its flames. I gathered all that was left of my strength, so that I could break from the pit and its flames. I gathered all that was left of my strength, so that I could break from the ranks and throw myself upon the barbed wire. In the depths of my heart, I bade farewell to my father, to the whole universe, and in spite of myself, the words formed themselves and issued a whisper from my lips. May his name be blessed and magnified. My heart was bursting. The moment had come. I was face to face with the angel of death. No, 2 steps from the pit, we were ordered to turn to the left and made to go into a barracks. Never shall I forget that night, the first night in camp. Just turned my life into one long night, 7 times cursed and 7 times sealed. Never shall I forget that smoke. Never shall I forget the little faces of the children whose bodies I saw turned into wreaths of smoke beneath a silent blue sky. Never shall I forget those flames which consumed my faith forever. Never shall I forget that nocturnal silence which deprived me for all eternity of the desire to live. Never shall I forget those moments which murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to dust. Never shall I forget these things, even if I am condemned to live as long as God himself. Never.
I'm going to read Psalm 23, which is actually used in funeral and memorial services. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In green fields he lets me lie, by quiet streams he leads me, he restores my soul. He guides me in paths of truth, for such is his name. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm. For you are beside me, your rod and staff they comfort me. You spread a table before me in front of my enemies. You soothe my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy seek me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Time when things are what they our pride, our families, and our friends.
Okay, I want to read this one about faith. Faith does not spring out of nothing. It comes with the discovery of the holy dimension of our existence. Faith does not detach man from thinking. It does not suspend reason. It is opposed not to knowledge, but to indifferent aloofness to the essence of living. Faith means to hold small things great, to take light matters seriously, to distinguish the common and passing from the aspect of the lasting. Faith is a dynamic personal act flowing between the heart of man and the love of God. Faith is the insight that life is not a self-maintaining private affair, not a chaos of whims and instincts, but an aspiration, a way, not a refuge. Faith is real only when it is not one-sided, but reciprocal. Man can rely on God if God can rely on man. Has anybody got any more readings? You want to say something? You want to read something? You will do the Shema. Do you want to say something?
El Rachamim, Shachem Bamramim, Hamatzei Menucha Nefana Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, B'ma'alot Kedoshim U'Taharim K'Zohar HaRakia Mazirim, Et Nishmot Kol Acheinu B'nei Yisrael, Anashim, Nashim V'Tach, Shenitbechu, Shenichnaku, Shenisrefu, Shenehergu, B'Gan Eden Tehib Menuchatam. Ana Baal Harachamim, Hastirem B'Seta Kanafecha Le'olamim, Tzro B'Tzro HaChayim Et Ishmotehem, Adonai Hu Nachalatam, V'Yanuchu V'Shalom, Al Mishkavotehem, V'Nomar Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to the souls of all our brethren, men, women, and children of the house of Israel, who were slaughtered and suffocated and burned to ashes. May their memory endure inspiring truth and loyalty in our lives. May their souls thus be bound up in the bound of life. May they rest in peace. And let us say, Amen.
On Tuesday night, I was lying in bed. And, this Tuesday night. And suddenly this wave of enormity came over me when I thought about 6 minutes. And when I thought about the total destruction of an entire culture in Europe. Total destruction. There and then gone. And I thought, why? And the simple answer is because they were Jews, like you and like me. I am a Jew, we're all Jews. And we should never deny that. And we should flourish in our Jewishness. There's so much good in being Jewish that we must never waste opportunities. In 24 hours' time, we will all be back in our own homes. And I want you to, all of us, to remember these 6 candles here this afternoon, representative of 6 minutes.
So the Shema together, and use the Kaddish. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
וחכה היום על לבביך, ושנתם לפניך דיברתך, ושבתך בביתך, ובטח בדרך, ושלחך בקומך, ושבת נאות על ידיך, היו לו תזכות בעיניך, וקצת העם לזאת ביתך, ובשעריך.
התקרא והתקדש שם רבו, ועל מדיבר חירותי, קיים נגמר בוסי, בחיי לכון ובמלכון ובחיים, בכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן תרי"ג ואמרו אמן. יש מרבו מבורך לעולם ולמאיה ולמאיה, יתברך וישתבח ויסבר, וידרובן ויתנסר, ויתהרר ויתעלה, ויתהרר שווה לקודשו, ולכו, להילה ממכל ברכתה, ישירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דאמרן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יש מרבו מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במערך ועשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
I want to finish with this, which I said Max had as well. This is an inscription that was found on the walls of a cellar in Cologne, Germany, where Jews were hidden from the Nazis. And it says very simply, I believe in the sun even when it is not shining. I believe in love even when feeling it not. I believe in God even when he is silent.
Okay, if you want to go and get that.
Get that camera
just found out.
Had a lot of impressions this week about the Holocaust, and I'm sure everybody here has something to say about the issue. And I'm not going to set a particular question to you, okay? I think I'll leave it up to each group to begin the discussion on whatever way it should be. It can be anybody to open up the discussion. The focus that we'd like to do is the Holocaust. And we're going to structure it that we have approximately half an hour discussion, okay? And then come back together as one big group and look at some of the issues that were raised to tie them together, okay? So I'll leave it up to each group to begin. And I'm going to join the group.
Could, excuse me, Elliot, one of the German girls come and join us? Oh, okay.
Simon and Garfunkel. And yours name? Richard.
I'm not 16.
Very intensively history at the moment.
I think one of the reasons they maybe feel like that is there's only 3,000 Jews in Munich. I think if I was a member of the group of 3,000, I'd be less confident.
What struck me?
What struck me
is anti-Semitism. Okay, I don't know, but that's what was said. That's what was said, and I found that really strange. I found that really strange, as them saying we are so small that they don't even know that we're here. Yeah.
Spend most of the rest of our lives, right? We definitely spend the rest of our lives. What I'd like to hear from everybody now is just something that you've taken away of thought.